Hi, welcome back to my channel. As you read by the title, this is gonna be a bit of a sensitive video. It may be triggering, but I feel like lately God has been putting certain things on my heart, and I just feel like whenever He does that, I have to just follow His will. So today I was going through my notes and I read a note that I wrote in December while I was reading The Sacred Woman. And I think it talks about your first either your menstrual cycle or when you lost your virginity, I think. It has little questionnaires. I'll answer both questions, but I'm trying to remember what the note was about. But yeah, so I found that note and I read it. I'm gonna put it in here. Like I said, this video may be triggering. So if it gets to a point where you feel like you can't watch it, more than welcome to click off. But I was reading it and it was talking about, I think it was talking about your first time. And it made me think to the time where I was exposed to sex at a young age. And a lot of my first sexual experiences were with someone that was supposed to be my mama ex-boyfriend. I'm not gonna, I would try to be like, watch my language, but yeah. So a lot of my first sexual experiences was with him instead of with someone my own age. So whenever I did lose my virginity, it was something that I chose to do. It was my choice. No one forced me to do it. Like, it's something that I did all on my own, and it was, I didn't, if you see how I lost my virginity video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But if you've seen it, then you know that the person that I lost my virginity to, we wasn't in no relationship. I wasn't really feeling him like that, but I don't regret that. I don't regret doing that with him or anything. I don't regret that situation at all. But yeah, I was 8 years old. My mom was dating this guy, and they had been dating for a while, but he had moved in with us. And one night when he came home from a party with his family, I could tell that he was like intoxicated. I don't know if he was drunk or high or both, but I know he was, on something. And I usually stay up late. I don't know why, but I am like really a night owl. So I'll stay up late all the time. And I remember him coming home and he came in the room to check on us and he seen that I was up. So he asked me, did I want like a little snack or something? This how they get you. This how they get you. They offer you a treat and all that. Try to be nice and shit. But, so I said yes, and we was watching it. Y'all remember this day. I remember this day so vividly. I went into my mama room, their room, and the movie Pride was on, which is the movie with Terrence Howard and Bernie Mac, and they have like a swim team or whatever. And so I remember that movie being on, and he laid down and he had gave me them white chocolate covered pretzels, them flips, and he was talking to me about the party that he was at with his family, and he said like somebody had got into it or whatever, and somebody had pulled out a knife or something and tried to stab him, and he got cut. And he was like, do you want to see the cut? And when he said that, it was, I already had like a feeling in like, cause it's like the way he said it. And so I was like, I didn't say nothing. And then he asked me again. And then I just like looked at him. And then he started like pulling down his pants. And once he started pulling down his pants, I remember just looking at him and calling his name. And then I got up and I went in my room. And I cried. And then like the next day, I wrote a letter to my mama. And I told her what happened. And she came to me and she asked me about it. And then they went and talked. And then she came back and she was like, well, he said he didn't mean it like that and he was just drunk and whatever. So basically, like, if she didn't question him no more about it, like, and I just feel like in that moment she should have, instead of forgiving him right away, she should have really took some time back to see like what why would you want to ever, even if he really was trying to show me a cut, which he was not, even if he really was, why would you want to show, why are you trying to pull your pants down? You're a grown man. I'm a little girl, you know? So I just feel like my mama didn't have my back. And I feel like once he seen that he could get my mama to believe him over me, I feel like in that moment, that's when he knew that he could get away with what he got away with. I feel like that. I feel like that in my heart. As me getting older and me really thinking about things and stuff, like, I really feel like that. And I feel like he chose me because out of me, my brother, and my little sister, I was the one that was the most like to myself. Because my brother would play with his friends. He really wouldn't play with me. My sister was a baby, so I couldn't really play with her like that. And so I was really by myself most of the time. So I think he seen that, and that's why he decided to, you know. So after that incident, we end up moving to Oak Cliff. And our first apartment that we got in Oak Cliff was somewhere off of Polk, Mesa Ridge. That's what it's called, Mesa Ridge. I don't know if it's called that now, but that's what it was called back then. And it's close off of Polk, well, off of Keystone Polk. Kind of, it's close by, what is that school? It's a charter school. If you're from Dallas, you should probably know what I'm talking about. It's a charter school. Faith Family Charter School. Yeah. So when we moved into those apartments, that's when he really started touching me. And my mama worked overnight, and I feel like, I just don't like the mind of a predator, because they really peep out the situation and take advantage of it. Because my mama worked overnight, and he knew that. So most of the time we were with him. Like, my mama, she would come in the morning, she would get us up ready for school, take us to school. By the time we got out of school, sometimes she was at home, sometimes she was already going to work, and then we wouldn't see her again till the morning. So she leaving us in his care majority of the time. This nigga half-ass had a job the whole time they was together. He would have a job, then he would quit. He would have a job, then he would quit. Mind you, he got his own kids. He got a daughter too. 2 daughters. At this time, he just had 1, but he have his own kids as well. So yeah, that's when he really started touching on me. And at that time, I'm like, I can't say nothing to my mama, because when I first tried to tell her, she didn't take my side really. And then us moving from the Grand Prairie, Arlington area, moving to, but us being majority in the Grand Prairie, Arlington area, then moving there to Oak Cliff in the hood, that was something that we were not used to. So he would scare us. Well, he would scare me. He would scare me by, like, he would have guns in the house. Sometimes he would shoot his gun in the house. Like, he you know, he would just, he gave this portrayal of himself as this hard, like, dangerous man. If you say anything, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna hurt your mama, that type of thing. So as a little kid, like, I'm scared to say anything, because then if I do too, he gonna hurt me, he gonna hurt my mama, you know, because their whole relationship was very toxic. I didn't see, like I said, he didn't pull out guns, he didn't busted our window, like, he didn't did so much shit. This nigga done jumped out the car while my mama was driving. He didn't try to turn her off the road while she was driving. Like, whole bunch of crazy shit I done seen this man do while him and my mama was together. So, like I said, like, that's another reason why I was scared to say something, because I'm like, who knows what he could do to us. I done already seen that this nigga is out of his mind, you know? So, from the ages of 8 until I was 13 years old, and we moved from the Oak Cliff area to Lancaster, that's when the touching stopped, because him and my mama broke up. And I was so, like, relieved, and I was so happy, and I was like, well, since they not together no more, then I'm gonna just keep it to myself, and I'm not gonna tell nobody, and it's just gonna be something that's, you know, that I just take to the grave with me, you know. And I'm not gonna get into detail, but I'm gonna just say, anytime he had an opportunity to touch me, he took it. We have stayed in hotels, we have stayed with his family members, we have stayed with our family members, but of course they didn't let him stay with us. But it didn't matter where we were. We didn't even stay with his mama at his mama house. It did not matter where we were. If it was an opportunity for him to touch me, he was gonna do it. We were in hotel rooms. I would be in the bed with him, and my sister and my brother would be in the other bed, and he would be touching me right where my sister and my brother is laying. And then I would have to get up before my mama got back home from off of work, because she get off of work in the mornings. So she wouldn't see me laying in the bed with him. You know, it would be times where I would be asleep, and this is why I can't sleep now. Like, I have really bad insomnia. It would be times where I would be asleep, and he would come get me up out of my bed when we did have our own place, and I was able to get my own room. He would get me out of my bed, come bring me into their room, do whatever he wanted to do to me, and then come put me back in my bed. I'm a little girl, you know? Like, I should not be experiencing any of these type of things with a grown man that also have a little girl. You know what I mean? And I just felt so alone. I just felt so alone. And that's why having friends is so important to me, because when I was coming up, I would always try to go spend the night at my friend's house. I would always try to make sure that I was in some type of after school activity so that I could be away from home as long as I could, so he couldn't touch me, you know. And my mama never noticed, because she didn't pay enough attention, because she was always at work, you know. And because he was doing stuff to me, like, I was, you know, talking nasty and stuff with other boys. And so my mama, you know, called me. The nigga sent the peed to my phone. I didn't even ask for it though. But my mama seen it, and, you know, I got in trouble and stuff. And it's like, she didn't sit down and say, Tatiana, what is going on? Why are you so interested in this? Like, you know, she never sat down and tried to actually have a talk with me. She was just like, well, you just want to be fast, and you want to be this, and you just want to. My mama made me feel like a hoe. For half of my childhood, my mama made me feel like I was a slut. The whole time, her boyfriend at home touching on me while she at work. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not going to get into detail, but it's a lot of things that he did to me that I should not have been happening to me at that young age. It should not have happened. So whenever we moved to Lancaster, I was so happy. Even though when we first moved, I was going through some anxiety and stuff. But after I got through that, I was so happy because he wasn't touching me no more, you know, and I could just move on. But then eventually him and my mama got back together when I was 17. And I don't know when, I guess I started putting on a little weight or whatever, because I've always had boobs. I started growing boobs when I was like around 8 years old. I got my cycle when I was around 8 years old. Like, I already had, like, you know, I didn't have no body, I didn't have no curves and stuff, but you know, I had boobs and stuff. You know, by the time I was in 7th grade, I was in like a B cup, you know. So by the time I was 17, I guess that's when I started getting a little curve, because he started making like slick little comments. And one time he made a comment while we were at my granny house in the kitchen, and I told my sister, and my sister was like, well, you need to tell mama. And I'm like, if I tell her, she's not gonna believe me. So my sister ended up telling my mama, and my mama came to me and she asked me, and I told her. I was like, well, yes, that happened. She went and talked to him. She came back in and she was like, well, he said that he wasn't making no comment about you. It was just singing the song lyrics and you just heard him wrong. Again, she took his side. Again, she took his side. That's the day, like, I can say that I really stopped trusting my mama, because you can't even protect me from this man. And so once she didn't kick him out or tell him to leave or anything like that, I made up in my mind, because I was going to therapy. This is when I first started going to therapy and taking medicine. I remember I was like, I made up in my mind, I was like, I'm going to go to therapy. Next time I have a session, I'm going to tell my therapist, because he's not going to get another chance to touch me. Because if he would have, I would not be here today. I would be in somebody's jail cell, because I would have ended his life. He would have been 6 feet. He would have been 6 feet under. I put that on my grandma, you know. So I told my counselor she had to call CPS because I was 17, you know. So we ended up having a whole CPS case, and we had to live with my granny for like 3 months, and I ended up graduating high school early because of it. Graduated high school at 17, top of my class, full scholarship, period. Don't play with that girl. So yeah, like, after that, like, after we came back and stayed with my mama after the CPS case and stuff, they said they couldn't do nothing about it, because the time that it happened, I was little and he wasn't doing anything right now. And technically, since I'm 17, I'm considered an adult in the eyes of Texas. So I would have to go and like go to court and file this and file, like, I didn't want to have to do all of that, you know. So, but after we went back and stayed with my mama, and I wrote another letter to my mama in detail, telling her what this man did to me every time she was at work. She got mad at me and was like, well, you should have told me this then, and I would have handled it then. When I told you the first time he tried to do something to me, you believed him and you took his side. So now I don't trust you. Now I don't feel like I can come and tell my mama this man is touching me, because she won't even believe it. So after I wrote her that note and I told her in detail what this man did to me, she still was with him. Still was with him months after that. I still had to be around this man. Months after that, I had to put my emotions and sacrifice myself, because my family didn't care about me enough and love me enough not to have this predator ass man around me after I done said what he to me. Like, what the fuck? I would never understand that. I would never understand it. And my mama had a nerve to say she don't want to talk about it. What? It happened to me. What? I told you what this man did to me, and you stayed with him after that. How could you lay next to him? How could you lay next to him? How could you look at him and be like, oh, I love you, after I told you what he did to me? Your daughter. The only reason my mama left that man alone is because she found out he was living with another fucking woman. Not because he touched her daughter. Because he was living with another fucking woman and she found out. Like, this wasn't the 1,000th time he done cheated on her. You know? And then I get up as an adult and I'm having nightmares about this man. It's shit, like... And I can't even come to my mama for real because she don't want to talk about it because it hurt her too much. Like, that's not fair to me. That's not fair to me at all. But now I gotta heal it on my own. I gotta go to God about it. You know? And so that's another reason why when people have so much to comment, my family, about my relationship with my mama, like, I had to go through that. Living in a house, being quiet, not saying nothing. This man sneaking in my room. Like, what? And I'm just supposed to forgive her. What's up, guys? So my phone ended up running out of storage. So that's why the video cut off like so abruptly. Let me take these off so you can't see the glare. But like I was saying, yeah, after we ended up moving back with my mama, she was still talking to old dude for some months after we moved back in. And after they officially broke up for good, after she found out he was living with another woman, I was still dealing with anxiety. Excuse me, y'all. I haven't been smoking. I just got a cough for whatever reason, so excuse me. But I was still dealing with like anxiety and depression. Like the whole year of 2017, I was depressed the whole year. I did try to go to school after I graduated. It didn't work out because my mind just wasn't there. My mind wasn't there enough for me to focus on school. So I ended up dropping out of school. But I just kind of made myself like get over it. Like I kind of just made myself move on from the situation. But once I started my spiritual journey in like 2020, going into 2021, that's when those feelings started coming back up, because I was doing shadow work. Well, I started doing shadow work because I started doing research and stuff. I started doing shadow work. That's when I first started my YouTube. If I have a clip of like the very first video that I recorded, I never posted it, but I recorded it. Then I'll put like a clip, I'll add a clip in here so y'all can see. I have been on my spiritual journey for about, it's raining. On my spiritual journey for, I would say for maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 months. Action journal. And I started doing shadow work yesterday. And I started thinking about my mom and our relationship. And then I started thinking about me growing up as a child, being exposed to sex or sexual things at an early age allowed me to really see things for what it is. morning about my abuse and the way that I feel about men, or the way that I felt. Like, they can just do whatever they want. Like, you can't say no to a man when he wants to have sex. Like, you're supposed to have sex with him. And I didn't really have a voice. As a young girl, it's like I'm always told that I need to be quiet. So I was afraid to, when something was happening to me, I was afraid to say something because I was always told you need to be quiet. But I was just really trying to better myself. And like I said, those old feelings started resurfacing, and I started having nightmares about him and stuff. And so I didn't end up going to therapy for it. When I went to therapy this last time, it was really mostly for the things that was happening between me and my mama. But I did speak about what he did to me while I was in therapy. And my mama, she apologized for what happened, but in my opinion, it wasn't. Maybe to her it was a real apology, but to me it wasn't, because it was just like the way she did it was kind of like an afterthought, because we were already talking about something that was dealing with my sister. And so while we was talking about a situation dealing with my sister, in the midst of that, she was like, and if I've never apologized to you for that situation, I'm saying I'm sorry now. Which, at that time, I did accept it. But then still, like I said, as I was dealing with my traumas head on, in my mind, to me, that was not a real apology. Because she didn't say, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you when you needed me to be. I'm sorry that I didn't believe you whenever you first brought it to my attention. I'm sorry for still dealing with this man even after you told me what he did to you. You know, it was just like, well, if I didn't tell you back then, I'm telling you now, I'm sorry. You know, so it's like, to me, still, that wasn't like really heartfelt. It wasn't really like sincere. And coming from her point of view, that probably was a very sincere apology, but to me it wasn't. So even still, like, I still feel a type of way, you know. And like I said, my mama, she didn't say this to me out of her mouth, but she did mention it to my sister. But she said she's not going to talk about that with me because it's too much for her. Which still, how is something that traumatic that happened to me too much for you to talk about? Because, and I feel like maybe she don't want to deal with the guilt or the shame that may come with how she handled the situation. But it's like, still, you're not giving me no type of closure. From your standpoint, I can't get no closure from this man, nor do I want to get closure from him. But you, as my mama, and how you handled the situation after everything came out, you know, I need closure from her with that. But she don't even want to give it to me because it's too hard for her to talk about. But yeah, as an adult, now I'm 25. Like I said, I just have to go to God about it. I just have a lot of things that I have been through over the past, I would say 3 to 4 years. I've really had to come to terms with the fact that I have to deal with it on my own, because people don't like to take accountability for doing you wrong. And you can't, even though that's what you want to do, you can't make nobody say sorry to you. You can't make nobody care about what they did to you. You can't make nobody see how hurt how hurtful they were towards you. You can't make nobody do that. So it's like, I have to heal what I can heal within myself. Like I say, go to therapy about it, talk to God about it, and, you know, just try to move forward like that. So it has been a process. It has been a process. Like I said, I haven't seen a psychiatrist or a psychologist since I've been here. But that is something that I want to do, because I'm in a process of trying to find a new job. And with my new work schedule, I'm going to try to make sure that I have time for therapy, because I need it, you know. But this video was hard for me to do. It was very emotional. I've never really came out and spoken about my experience as a child. So hopefully this helps someone, you know. Hopefully it encourages someone to know that even though people have done you the dirtiest, it's still like on you to make sure that you are good. It's still on you to make sure that that doesn't turn you into like a vindictive person or a hateful person or a bitter person. Because even though something like that has happened to me and it has affected my sex life, that's part of the reason why I don't really, I won't say I don't like having sex, but sex is not really like a big thing to me, unless I'm with someone that I care about, obviously. But as far as like, oh, I gotta have sex, that's never been me. That's never been on my forefront. I never gave hoe, I never gave fiend, I never gave desperate for dick, none of that shit. Because I can please myself, and then two, like, I don't really trust men. That's another thing with me experiencing that as a young girl. When I'm around older men, I don't trust them. Even sometimes I don't 100% like feel safe around like my daddy and my uncle, which is like, I know they wouldn't do anything to me, but it's still because that happened to me. My lack of trust in men, and older men in particular, is very low. So it's like, I half-ass really trust these niggas, but you know, I still try to open myself to relationships and open myself to people, because, you know, I don't want to let my past trauma affect the person that I'm dealing with, like not unintentionally. You get what I'm saying? So I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna keep that to myself, because I didn't told him myself, so he already knows that. But yeah, dating for me is a little different. But yeah, so I just try to, like I say, now that I'm 25, I just try to like journal if I feel any like old emotions coming back, or if I start having flashbacks or get triggered. I just try to journal, really, and I just try to comfort myself in the best way, and know that at least he's in jail. You know, he's not in jail for what he did to me. He's in jail, well, prison. He in prison for something else. What the fuck do this man want? But I'm glad that he's in prison. That's where the fuck he's supposed to be. So yeah, that was it for this video. Like I said, I hope this I know it may be triggering for some people, but I hope this video can help someone in some type of way to know that you are not alone. If you have ever dealt with sexual assault, or if you know somebody who has dealt with it, or if you are in a situation where you are afraid to like speak up and say something, like, I totally understand. But it's like nobody's going to protect you more than you protect yourself. Nobody is going to be there for you more than you can be there for yourself. And that's just the reality of it. So if you choose not to say anything, that's fine. But still take the time to heal. Still take the time to, you know, work through that trauma. So this is it for the video, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Put on your post notification bell so you get notified every time that I post. And I will see y'all in the next video.
My new bitch look like Halle Berry, but she don't love me.